as we were working across communities, we found out that there were these kinds of individuals, these leaders, some of whom didn't even believe they were leaders, wouldn't call themselves leaders, which is why we don't use the word leader or leadership. And we found that they held three characteristics in common. And it goes something like this. The first one is they all hold ideals. And those ideals were never instilled by us or by someone else. They came to the table with these ideals. They believe deep in their heart. They may need to rediscover them, but those ideals are theirs. But what's important about it is that the ideals alone weren't enough for these folks. The second thing that we found is that they're highly pragmatic. They want results. And so ideals alone doesn't get you results, won't get you results. So they decide, what we found is that they believed in talking about how do you create pathways. They wanted to know about benchmarks. They wanted to hold themselves accountable for whether or not they were making a difference, whether or not they could see change occur. If something wasn't working, they would decide to change and try something else. Highly pragmatic. Third thing that we found is that these individuals had some experience with risk. That they understood that there are times to take risk, and they could discern when that risk was present. And there are times, frankly, when you don't really want to take the risk. Maybe it's not worth it, or maybe it's not the area where you should be taking risk. And so what we found is that these people not only could calibrate risk, they had some comfort level with risk. It didn't scare them, it didn't push them away, it didn't cause undue fright in them. And so now what we find is when we go into communities and when we talk to people, when people talk to us, is that you can see pretty quickly these public innovators. And these public innovators really want to be part of something larger than just themselves, because they're often working alone, or it's kind of a lonely task to keep innovating, keep pushing things ahead. And that's why we decided to create the Public Innovators Lab. It's why we have things like the Summit. It's why we have the portal that we're developing where people can meet up online to help each other and to work together. It's why we have our strategic alliances, because we want to find those places and those people where public innovators exist. And to the extent that they're interested, we want to make our work available, not so they'll tell their friends that they used our work, although that would be nice, but because we believe with our work they can accelerate their own work and make a greater dent in change and create more authentic hope.